Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Teti and I'm a knitwear designer. On this channel, I talk about knitting, my designs, and all the creative processes around my work. I also talk about Ukraine, my heritage, and many other things. I'm recording this episode primarily for my Patreon and YouTube channel members who will get a primary access. So if you'd like to stay up to date, please consider joining me on Patreon or as a member of my YouTube channel. If you're watching this at a later date, please subscribe and enjoy the episode. Hi everyone, hi, and thank you very much for choosing to spend a bit of your time with me. I want to show you some new things. It's the end of the last day of February, and I feel like it's a good time to show you what I've been working on in the last winter months and to get you excited for the spring and what's coming in the next few months. So today we will talk about only one design, but many reincarnations of this one design idea. And yeah, let's get started. If you've seen the previous episode, you probably saw me showing you the beginning of my Parnassia design. A design inspired by a flower with like nice lacy petal. Well, I don't have to go far. With a nice lacy petal detail on the yoke, a little playful ruffle, and then the rest wasn't revealed yet. So let me go back to the original sample and then we get to this one. I've debated where to take this design for a long time. I didn't want it to be just the whole lacy yoke thing because I feel it's very repetitive and there are lots of sweaters like that out there. So for me it was important to have something different, and if I was to go from lace to something different on the yoke, I would need a nice transition. So that's how the ruffle came in. I made the lace and then I thought I would add a bit of a pop of color, and I felt like I could have added like a different color and then move maybe into color work or into a different texture. So that was like always all these thoughts on my mind, thinking how to go further, because I had a nice lace and I had this beautiful ruffle that I really loved there, and then where to go from there I wasn't sure. So when I'm not sure, I usually go with the simplest way. That's usually what works best in my opinion, in my history so far. So if ever in doubt, go with this. It's like a Occam's razor or something like that. The rule that the most simple solution is probably the most likely one. So yeah, that's where I am with this design. I felt like that would be enough. This will be the focal point, and from there I will just keep it simple. So this is how it turned out. I have this nice textured lacy top of the yoke, and then I added simple twisted ribbing at the bottom of the yoke to have a bit more interest there before you separate for the body and sleeves. And that's also how I separated the short row section from the yoke to also nicely hide the wraps under the ruffle. that's also a very neat trick, so you don't see it on the not very forgiving fabric when you work with this kind of yarn. I will get to this in just a second. So that's where the short row section is hidden on the back, and then it's a simple stockinette, plain boxy body and a very nice tapered sleeve. So it's overall, this one is a fitted pullover that has a bit of a lacy ribbing, and I added a bit of a lacy touch on the underarms, but this is optional. I don't know how practical this is for many of us. You're probably able to see your bra through this lacy holes on the side, so you might want to choose if that's something you like or not if you wear it on your body. If you have something underneath, that's not a concern. So yeah, I thought I will keep this one simple, and that would be enough. I knit this one in it's a sport weight, but I knit it on a gauge 28 stitches and 10 centimeters, which means that it's somewhere between fingering and sport weight gauge, I think. I knit it on 3.5 millimeter needles, which is US 4, and it does take a bit of time with all the stockinette, but I hope you will find it fun enough to knit the top part and then survive knitting the sleeves and the body. There is some lace in there to keep it more interesting, but I would understand if you said no, it's just too boring. So in any case, the yarn that I used is really nice and soft, and it's not like 100% merino that I don't really like. It feels more rustic, and I think it also feels much less than if it was 100% merino. So this one is from Shangrok brand, which is based in Taiwan, if I'm correct, but they produce the yarns on the Tibetan plateau, and they do a lot to help the local communities. You can see a lot of what they do on their Instagram. It's very see-through. You can actually feel how you contribute to the local communities. So I wanted to work with them and support them in the way that I can. So they sent me this beautiful yarns, and mine is called Velveteen Caramel. So it's a beautiful caramel color. It looks more orange on the screen, but in real life it's more brown. Yeah, it was. It is on a more expensive, of course, side of the price range, but for this kind of quality yarn, if you want to invest, that's what you have to pay. That's what I did with them, and they are going to knit. We are test knitting this pattern now, and they are going to knit a few more variations as a test to show maybe different yarns or maybe different colors. I don't know exactly what the plan is, but I'm looking forward to see their sample as well, because they usually create very beautiful design samples. They need beautiful projects of other designs. They need a gorgeous Polina pullover. One of mine I will show you the picture with like a beautiful pinkish shades of their yarns, and overall, whatever, I don't remember what else did they need. They probably need something of mine as well, something else, but which I don't remember. Anyway, I just feel like they have a good eye for colors, and they hand dyed all their yarns, so they can also play with the shades, and the choices are amazing. So this is what it was, and since I wasn't so sure that you're gonna like knitting on such a small gauge, I felt like I wanted to do something more chunkier. I really loved the yoke, and in a chunkier yarn it would take more of the yoke, so the accentuated part would be larger, and that's what I did. That's what I'm wearing right now. It is going to be called Chunky Parnassia, I think. We are also testing the pattern at the moment, and I did this one I kept the playful theme. I added the balloon sleeves, which I also had on some of my designs, on many of my designs, and which I love for spring especially. And since it's in this light yarn that goes into coats and jackets very easily, so I don't have to be concerned that it's just too voluminous, that I'm not practical. I added the voluminous sleeve, and for me I kept it cropped, so it's perfect over dresses, and I think it looks gorgeous with this little ruffle. It goes a bit lower on the chunky version, so in this one, in a sport weight, it would be sitting a bit higher over here, and here it goes slightly lower, but the construction with the short rows on the back is the same. And then I also omitted the lace on the underarms. In this version it doesn't need anything else, like all the attention will be here, and I'll just have the sleeves for the extra volume. I made this one in Le Gros silk mohair from Bish and Bush. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. I also, like, my internal name for it is Bitches and something, which is probably not nice, and I'm gonna be banned for the wrong language, but that's how we call it in my mind. I'm learning French. I started last summer, but it's taking long. So I used this one. It's a chunky mohair. They say it's silk mohair. They say it's DK weight, but you can knit it on anything from 5 to 4.5 and to, I don't know, 7mm needles. And I knitted on 5mm. Well, for the ribbing it was 4.5 and 5mm needles, so it goes really fast. And it creates quite a nice fabric without too many holes, so it's more even, and it's actually a very nice chunky silk mohair that I loved working with. I had a design published in 2020 or 2021 called Floral Cocoon, and I made it in also chunky silk mohair, some like heavyweight silk mohair from Cocoon yarns, and that one was less that had more sort of uneven structure, and this one is very even, and it also creates a more even fabric. So if you're looking for something light, chunky, and voluminous, but you don't want to have like too many holes or a very uneven structure, this is a very nice yarn. Astrid from Bish, I hope that's how it's pronounced, she sent me this yarn last year for a design which I never came up with, so this was a very nice find in my stash to have. It's in this beautiful red-brown color that suits me very well, and that I love, like, just as a favorite color for anything. It's very soft. I enjoy wearing this. Since I made it, it's on me all the time. And like on the first sample, the ruffle I made in silk mohair, just a simple lacy weight strand of, in my case, I use knitting for olive. Well, it's 70% mohair, 30% silk. The color is called Rust. So I have this red brown with rust. It does add a bit of they are in the same color family, of course, but it does add a bit of a nice touch in a different color. I could have added a ruffle in the same color, like if you don't want it to pop out too much and look like too playful or too childish, or I don't know what's your opinion is. Mine, for me, it's perfect. But you could make it in the same color as your main yarn, and that would make it more conspicuous. Inconspicuous? I don't know how. So you will not see it that pronounced. But otherwise you can make it in any color, or you can skip it all together and just move to the ribbing directly. Yeah. That's not a problem at all, but I do feel like this is an essential element of this design, and it doesn't make it too childish. No, I don't think so. Speaking of kids, this is the last thing that I will show you today. No, wait, not the last one. I sent an email to Astrid and asked for some more yarn because I love this one. I asked for another batch of their medium peach. Look at this color, it's gorgeous. And this, I'm going to make a second sample for this one. It's probably gonna be my favorite this year, so I'm gonna be living in this, and like the whole summer and spring this is going to be just perfect on top of sleeveless dresses and everything. So this is going to become a second sample of the chunky Parnassia. And I had a brilliant idea that I want to make a shawl. So this is going to be a light, chunky Parnassia shawl. Can you imagine? With a nice little ruffle here and there. Maybe just in one place. But yeah, I'm very excited about this one, and knowing that it's gonna grow very quickly and how it's gonna feel on my shoulders, neck. I'm very, very excited about this one. So thank you, Astrid, and if you ever wanted to try this kind of yarn, this is a recommendation. Last one. Now we get to the last one, and this is, speaking about kids, my friend is going, one of my best friends, I don't have many of those, but she is going to have a baby in summer. And she lives in Barcelona, and well, I assume the moment when the baby can start wearing the warmer sweater, it's gonna be like winter, and the baby is gonna be like a year or so, or at least 6 months. So I made a sweater for the baby, a Parnassia, a tiny Parnassia sweater, but for thinking for like a 1-year-old, probably 2-year-old sizing. And that's what it is. Look at this tiny little thing. I made the yoke in, it's something from my stash leftovers. I don't remember even what it is. There was no label. I added a little white ruffle. I was making it first in the same yarn as the yoke, but it was a bit too much. It was too bulky, and I felt like, meh, I don't like it, and I don't want to give away something that I don't like. And I was debating if kids are allergic to mohair, if that's gonna be an issue for a baby, and it might be. So in any case, it would be possible to remove it, but for the sake of looks, I really wanted to keep it with mohair, so I added this little mohair ruffle. Let me turn this off. Okay. So I added this ruffle, and then I did the bottom of the yoke after the ruffle, and the sleeves and the rest in This is mokosh, the leftover from my mokosh sample in this nice mustard. It is in real life a bit more yellow. It's not this mustardy, it looks a bit more greenish yellow in real life. I don't know why the camera makes it so warm. But it is what it is. I added a bit of short rows in the back. Yeah, it's beautiful. Oh, and I hope this is going to fit at some point. This is of course not a... I'm very bad with baby sizes. Like children for me are something like out of space. I don't know how they work, how they look, how they feel, what works for their bodies. So if you ever think of buying a knitting pattern from someone who doesn't have kids, don't. You need to, like, it's not a table with measurements. Kids are like also like women and men, like humans. You can't read everything from a table with measurements. You just can't rely on them. You have to know how the body behaves, how the body feels, and what is required for the garment to fit well. So I don't know anything about babies, and I don't know how and what is comfortable for them and for their parents who have to dress them. So I hope I made the neck intentionally wide, so there is no hate of putting stuff over the head, and then I hope there is enough room for everything else. That's what I made in like 2 days for a friend of mine. I hope she likes it. I hope she's not superstitious about getting gifts for a child who's not born yet, but that's a risk I want to take, and she will have something very special from me. Yeah, if you have any thoughts about that, or a good recommendation for a kids designer, or anything that you want to add to this topic, please let me know in the comments below. I am very excited to see what's coming in spring. This will be, of course, like the highlight of my spring. I won't have any patterns released in March. Well, February, no, of course, already gone. And March we will probably be testing this too. That means that early April both of them will be out, and I really look forward to seeing what people will make out of them. I heard and I listened to an interview of a Ukrainian musician last week, and he said the moment you release a song, it's no longer yours. Well, officially the copyright and everything, it's yours, but it goes to people and they make their own things out of it. They create their own memories that are connected to this song. They interpret it in a way they feel like that resonates to them, and that's the same with the patterns. I have an idea and I create a design that as I see it, but then every knitter re-envisions it and creates something on their own, and it's a whole journey that I really enjoy watching from a side, just being in this my place and seeing it, what other people are creating out of it. So it is also there's this journey when I send the pattern for testing, and this first 2-3 weeks is like hell, when every comment is like a knife in my back and I'm questioning everything that I've done. But then when it's out, I am no longer susceptible to that kind of criticism anymore, because it's already out, and then you are free to do whatever you want with it. And like my part of the job is almost done, and then I'm just out sitting here and looking at what the world will create with it. If you're gonna like it, if not, what you like, what you don't, and what's the next. You know, it's also it's this thought that I'm not creating for you. I mean, not really. Like with the songs as well, when someone writes a lyric or when someone writes a poem, they don't write it for people to like. They don't I heard this I read it somewhere that one of the designers in an interview said that when they create a design, they go to Ravelry, they see what's hot, and then based on that, they create something that will be trendy, they will be popular, that will sell well. That's not how I work. I feel very inspired, and I'm planning some new things, this time with a bit more planning. Yeah, but there are also things like the new chunky Parnassia that I'm looking forward to make. It's probably gonna be relatively quick, but then also the shawl. So yeah, this you can guess how the summer and spring is gonna look for me. Yeah. As you can see, my work keeps me very fulfilled, and at this moment in my life, I do focus more on it and on a more positive side of life. Before, I used to share a lot of pain and maybe negative parts, but it wasn't meant as a negative, it was more meant as a reality check for me too, because I don't want to be pretending here that everything is fine and I'm all butterflies when I'm not. So I'm very grateful for all of you who stuck through that moment. It's still not okay. It won't be okay for a long time. I don't think anything is changing as quickly as some of the big people out there are claiming. But yeah, I'm just considering that life goes on. I'm just choosing to focus on little good things that we still have in our lives. So thank you all for being here for me. I appreciate every word of support that I got, and yeah, thank you all for standing with Ukraine, and I will see you in the next one.